Welcome back to Prophecy Unfolding, where prophecy is truly unfolding. This is breaking news that's coming out of the Middle East in relation to Israel. You know, when we see what's happening in the Middle East, it's a melting pot what's happening. And sometimes I have to sit back and realise things are just happening so quickly in the world. It's so hard to keep up with everything that's happening. Many people asking the questions like, what is going on? Why are all these things seem to happen at the same time? But what happened with Israel at the moment to me is going to send shockwaves around the Middle East, and I'm not going to be surprised if something major happens out of this in regard to Israel, and obviously their biggest ally being the US. And this just happened today. They took their shot to try to hit some of the Hamas leaders in a neutral, what we class as a neutral country. Here's exactly what happened.
We've got breaking news from the Middle East, and this is significant. Moments ago, the Israeli military is saying that it conducted a strike against senior Hamas leadership. Multiple explosions reported not in Gaza, but in the capital city of Doha in Qatar. In Tel Aviv, Greg Palcott's watching that story. And Greg, it's early. What have you learned from there? Hello.
Well, Bill, this war just stepped up by one more step. In the past half hour or so, we have gotten reports that for the very first time, Israel has struck Doha, Qatar, aiming at the Hamas leadership there. Remember, Qatar is one of the two mediating countries, Qatar and Egypt.
Now, to me, when I'm looking at this, it was a very risky move by Israel, and I believe this is going to cause absolute turmoil in the Middle East and other countries around the world. People are going to really turn on Israel like never before, and obviously that's going to include the US. From a strategic military point of view, they'll say that this is uncalled for. You cannot attack what they call neutral countries. But this is going to really push things forward. The question we always ask when we're looking to the Middle East and Israel and Jerusalem specifically, why is this place so contended? Why is this happening? And I've made this just to sum it all up so you can see for yourself.
Jerusalem has always carried a weight far greater than its size, and the scriptures foresaw the very tensions we are witnessing today. The prophet Zechariah declared, "Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces." Zechariah 12, 2-3. That imagery of nations staggering under Jerusalem's weight seems uncannily alive in our own time, as wars involving Israel and its allies spill over into neighboring lands through bombings and retaliatory strikes. What was once written as prophecy now reads almost like today's headlines. Other scriptures echo this pattern. Jesus himself, looking ahead, warned of wars and rumors of wars, Matthew 24:6, and of Jerusalem being trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled, Luke 21:24. Ezekiel also spoke of a time when nations would gather against Israel, only to find themselves facing divine judgment, Ezekiel 38-39. Together, these passages paint a picture of a city and a people whose destiny is bound up with global upheaval, a center point where earthly politics and heavenly purposes collide. Today, we see Israel surrounded by enemies, entangled in wars that have drawn in its friends and allies, while explosions and unrest ripple through Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, Yemen, and beyond. Each attempt by nations to impose peace, redraw boundaries, or claim dominion over the city seems only to intensify the unrest, almost as though the prophecy fulfills itself. Jerusalem remains that heavy stone, lifted at great cost, resisted at even greater cost. For believers, this is not merely geopolitics, but a reminder that the God who spoke through the prophets still oversees the course of history, and that Jerusalem's trembling is a signpost pointing toward greater things yet to come.
Now, to me, I've said it from many years ago, that the center or the epicenter of prophecy is always in and around Jerusalem. We know that Jesus is going to be returning there. But when I'm looking at these things happening now, sometimes, like I've said before, I have to sit back and really look and think these things are really actually happening. They're all occurring very quickly at the same time with more intensity. It's almost like the things that Jesus spoke about are happening before our eyes. Now, is this going to trigger World War III, as some would say? I don't know, but I just believe this is going to shift something major. I will be surprised if we don't see all-out war by this time next year. I'm going to see it, kind of seeing it starting to happen in Europe. Preparations in France, by telling hospitals to be ready for war by March 2026. So things are moving at a very, very quick rate. Yes, these things are foretold to happen, we know it, but sometimes we have a thing of, oh, maybe it's not now, maybe this is further down the line, but things are escalating and moving forward. You know, when I'm seeing war and things like that, I'm praying for all people that are there. I'm praying that people come to the knowledge and truth of who Jesus Christ really is and find him. But we know that the enemy has this plan. He's going to try cause as much destruction as possible to have the world in such a melting pot so that one man, and I say that in inverted commas, will come to bring the final, what we say to be the final fake piece. And I believe all of those pieces of the puzzle are coming into play. I just wanted to keep you updated with what's happening, and things are moving forward, but we're still here, we still have time. The gospel that Jesus Christ can set people free today, just like he did 2,000 years ago. Remember, even though we see chaos happening in the world, God's always in control, and keep the faith.